You'll love this story. This will surprise you as well. Civil servants have been given the green light to work remotely overseas, prompting concerns that some will choose to log in from the beach. Staff at the Department for Energy Security and Net Zero are among those who can apply to work abroad for 2 weeks a year whilst visiting friends and family overseas. The Senior Civil Servants FDA union says many of its members have connections outside the UK and should be eligible for international remote working for the benefit of their family life. This comes on top of the government's ongoing struggles to get civil servants and other members of the public sector back into the office 5 days a week post-pandemic. So let's get reaction from tonight's newsmaker, former Government Minister Anne Widdecombe. Anne, your reaction to this outrageous story. Work from the beach. Have you ever done that?
Well, hang on. They didn't entirely say work from the beach. They said work from abroad. Now, I speak as one who, on a holiday in Singapore, wrote several chapters of a book. And that was because I was indeed visiting very long-standing friends and my old armour in Singapore. And there was time during the day when everybody else was working when I wrote a book. Now, what you've got to ask is this, and this is the crucial thing, and I can't understand why people don't focus on it. Whether people are working in it from abroad or from home or from the office, the same standard should apply when it comes to assessing their work. And if somebody is obviously having a great time on the beach and not producing the work, then that employer has exactly the same sanctions as he would have to somebody who was idling in the office. Now, I don't understand why that isn't the crucial determining factor, that the employer, be it public or private, that the employer assesses the work by the same standard he or she would if it was in the office.
Well, look, Anne, I take your point, but Anne, you're a one-off. You are unique. Not everyone has Anne Widdecombe's fierce work ethic and self-discipline. And you're right, perhaps it doesn't mean working from the beach. Perhaps it means working from the wine bar or working from the buffet. The bottom line is that this sends out the wrong message, Anne, and you won't get an offer like this in the private sector.
Well, you might well get an offer like that in the private sector if you were producing the work, because all the private sector's concerned about is the quality of the work that you produce. And that is the driving force. And if you look good in the private sector, you'll find yourself out. And we need exactly that approach in public life. But, you say they're doing it from the wine bar. You don't know that. They could be doing it, as I was, from a friend's house. I have dealt with government business before now while I was abroad because something came up while I was abroad. And pushed aside the holiday and dealt with a piece of business that I had to deal with. Now, in this day and age, remote technology, there's no darn reason why people shouldn't work remotely, but the word there is work. And that should be the determining factor. Are these people producing respectable work?
OK, well, look, if they're all Anne Widdecombe's, they can work wherever they like. But otherwise, it's my view, get back in the office. Anne, I'll tell you who's spending a lot of time in the office at the moment is the Chancellor, Jeremy Hunt, preparing his autumn budget statement. It's happening this week. He's told reporters that everything is on the table, including potential cuts to income tax and inheritance tax. Here he is talking to GB News' very own Camilla Tominey this morning.
I do believe that if we're going to be a dynamic, thriving, energetic, fizzing economy, we need low tax and we need taxes to be lower than they are at the moment. We're not going to do anything irresponsible, particularly by which I mean anything that fuels inflation.
Now, Anne, you've been calling for tax cuts for a long time. You want to put a tiger in the tank. You want the economy to grow, grow, grow. I'm with you on that. But can we talk about inheritance tax? Because is a cut in inheritance tax justified, given that many who have nothing to inherit are already struggling to make ends meet?
Well, the people who are also struggling are those who live in areas where property prices are immensely high. Who may have bought or themselves inherited an entirely modest piece of property, which now is sky high in price. And so when they die, it's assessed on the current price. and money is taken, but it doesn't actually mean that they are wealthy and living a privileged life. And they're the sort of people who are trapped by inheritance tax. So I've got to say, I'm very happy for it to come down, but above all, I want to see business taxes come down. I cannot believe.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Cut off in her prime, the brilliant Anne Widdecombe. She hasn't been censored, I promise you that. Anne returns in a week's time.